If you were born between 1945 and 1965, what you are about to hear will permanently alter the way you understand your own life and your own existence. Not slightly, not temporarily, forever. There is a question that has followed you for decades, surfacing in the quiet moments between sleep and waking, in the hollow spaces between achievements, in the painful gaps between who you were told to be and who you have always felt you truly are. That question is this: why does it feel like my life is supposed to mean something more? Carl Jung, the legendary psychoanalyst who descended into the darkest and most profound layers of the human soul, who decoded the mysteries of the collective unconscious, left behind thousands of pages of deep observation and analysis on the spiritual evolution of humanity before his death in 1961. But in his final years, within the most intimate circle of colleagues and students, he shared one extraordinary spiritual discovery, one that almost no one expected, and one that speaks directly to you. According to Jung's deepest spiritual analysis, the souls who chose to be born between 1945 and 1965 did not arrive here by accident. They came with a sacred soul contract accepted before embodiment, carrying a mission of immense weight. And the most staggering part of all is this: this is your last chance. Your last chance to complete what you left unfinished across previous lifetimes. Your last chance to balance a karmic debt of enormous magnitude. And your last chance to become part of that singular group of souls chosen to prepare humanity for its great leap in consciousness. Jung called those born in this period the hinge generation. You are not entirely of the old world. You are not entirely of the new. You stand at the precise intersection of both. And that intersection is the most critical, most necessary place any soul can occupy. Think about what that truly means. You were born in the immediate aftermath of the Second Great War, into a world clawing its way back from ash and ruin. You grew up amid political turbulence, ideological battles, economic upheaval, and the vast migrations of populations from rural villages to expanding cities. You witnessed with your own eyes the transition from black and white single-channel television to the blinding speed of the digital age, from rotary phones to the entire world in the palm of your hand. None of this was accidental. Your soul chose precisely this window of time, because it knew this era would be the most turbulent, the most disorienting, and the most necessary period in human history. Jung explained that encoded within the spiritual architecture of this generation was a rare and extraordinary capability, the ability to build unshakable bridges between old and new, between matter and meaning, between fear and love. And now, decades later, as the world once again collapses and reconstructs itself before your eyes, your mission carries a depth of meaning greater than ever before. Because you did not come here merely to live an ordinary life. You came to remember something, to awaken something, and to transmit an ancient wisdom that the younger generations who follow you desperately need. But here is the question that demands an honest answer. Have you already realized this? Or are you still searching somewhere out there, without knowing that the answer has been hidden in your own birth date all along. In this video, I will tell you exactly what Carl Jung said about your generation, what specific mission you arrived here to fulfill, and why you are now standing at the most decisive turning point of your entire existence. Drop 1111 in the comments right now. I was born for this moment. Me share with you a true story. In 1944, Carl Jung had descended into one of his deepest states of visionary contemplation, those rare, extraordinary moments when the human mind transcends its ordinary boundaries and touches something vast and ancient. His assistants were recording his thoughts, as always, but this time, something entirely different was unfolding. Jung began speaking of an immense wave of ancient souls preparing to arrive on Earth. These were not new spirits. These were souls who had been embodied many times before, who knew with profound intimacy the full weight of suffering, of war, of separation, of the collapse of empires. But now they were returning with a singular, final purpose. When someone in his inner circle asked him when these souls would arrive, Jung responded with quiet certainty, "They have already begun. They will descend between the end of the Great War and that dark era when humanity will discover it possesses the power to destroy itself completely." That period covered precisely 20 years, from 1945 to 1965. An entire generation. 20 years of souls with a mission, compressed into a single window of time. Jung never lived to witness this generation reach full adulthood, but he left extraordinarily precise observations about what to look for within them. He said these souls would be profoundly restless and searching, that they would never fit within conventional structures, that from very young ages they would challenge religious, political, and social systems at their foundations. And that is exactly what happened. Those born in those years became the passionate idealists of the 1960s and 70s. They transformed into spiritual seekers who refused to accept inherited beliefs at face value, who searched instead for the essence beneath doctrine, for the depths of mysticism, for Eastern philosophy, for the liberation of the soul. This was not rebellion for its own sake. This was an ancient remembering arising from the depths of the spirit, a knowing that there existed another way to live, another way to be. Jung explained that these souls had not come to burn the old world down, but to transform it from within, to be the solid, dependable bridge that holds both banks together as the world crosses from one age to the next. And here is perhaps the most fascinating detail of all. Jung predicted that many within this generation would not truly awaken, not in the deepest sense, until they reached their 40s or 50s. Why? Because first, they needed to experience the full, crushing weight of the old world. They needed to work inside those systems, to be ground between those gears, to feel the disillusionment in their bones, in their flesh, to know with the certainty of lived experience that something was fundamentally broken at the root. Only after enduring that could they possess the spiritual authority to show others a different path. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you felt as though you were simply running on autopilot, going through the motions without truly living? How many mornings did you wake and quietly ask yourself, there must be something so much more than this. That vast, aching emptiness you have carried was never a psychological failure. It was your soul, persistently, relentlessly, trying to remind you of your true mission. Write 777 in the comments. My soul chose this mission before I was born. Jung also identified 3 very specific signs that confirm a soul of this generation is ready to awaken. The first sign, a deep existential crisis that shatters you from within, one that forces you to question everything you have ever believed to be true. The second sign, an inexplicable, powerful pull toward spirituality, toward the mysteries of the universe, toward a deeper dimension of reality, even if you have no idea where to begin. The third sign, a constant, heavy sense of responsibility for everything unfolding in the world, even when you have no clear vision of how to change it. If you have lived all 3 of these deeply and personally, this is not coincidence. This is confirmation. But hold on, because what follows is far more striking. Jung did not speak only in broad terms about this generation as a whole. He divided that 20-year window into specific subgroups and assigned a distinct mission to each. Those born between 1945 and 1950 are the memory carriers. You brought to Earth the ancient remembrance of what the world was like before the Great Rupture, the Great Disconnection. Your essential work is to remember and to transmit that pure wisdom to those who come after you. Those born between 1951 and 1965 are the system healers and consciousness activators. You came to identify which social structures had decayed beyond repair, to mend them at the root, and to awaken others, sometimes with uncomfortable force, in preparation for the immense transformation approaching. Can you find yourself in this? Hold that awareness, because I am about to reveal exactly what you left unfinished in your previous lifetimes, and why this incarnation is your final cycle on this earth. Now we arrive at the most shattering truth of all. Carl Jung did not merely say that this generation carried a mission. He emphasized that this is their final mission on Earth. What does that mean precisely? According to the laws of spiritual evolution, our cycles of earthly embodiment have a natural limit. We were not designed to return here endlessly. Eventually, the soul graduates from this school and continues its evolution in dimensions of existence far beyond what we can currently comprehend. And for many of you, this lifetime is that graduation. The incarnation in which your soul will determine whether it fulfills the very purpose for which it was created. Jung had traced the pattern across lifetimes. Souls born between 1945 and 1965 had appeared at every critical fracture point in human history. In the ancient days of the first civilizations, in the bloody transitional eras when great empires fell and new ones rose, during the Age of Enlightenment, always emerging when humanity stood at the edge of a dark abyss. They always tried to guide the change, and they often failed, because human free will was unpredictable, because the fear within human hearts was overwhelming. because the control mechanisms holding the old systems in place were nearly impossible to dismantle. But with every lifetime, these souls learned something new, developed a new capacity, accumulated mountains of wisdom. They simply never fully completed that great final mission, until now. The current generation possesses an advantage that no previous generation has ever had: a perfect terrain, a world where knowledge flows without borders, where geographical boundaries have collapsed in the mind, where millions of people are simultaneously in the midst of a spiritual awakening and a desperate search for meaning. This is precisely the storm you were born for. But here is the detail Jung underlined with relentless emphasis. If you do not awaken now, if you do not complete this great mission in this lifetime, there will be no further opportunity given to you on this earth. Not as punishment, simply because the cycle closes naturally. Your soul will, of course, continue its journey in higher dimensions of learning. But that extraordinary, specific mission you undertook for humanity will remain incomplete. And the consequences of that, not only for you, but for the entire world, will be immense. Because this hinge generation must plant the seeds of what Jung envisioned beyond the coming chaos, an era of peace, elevated consciousness, and profound understanding. That golden age does not arrive on its own. It requires builders. It requires those who can hold the lantern steady in the darkness, so that others do not fall into the abyss while crossing to the other side. That person holding the lantern is you. Comment 444. I trust the process even when I walk in complete darkness. I know exactly what is moving through your mind right now. I am not someone special. I have no extraordinary powers. I am certainly not some celebrated spiritual leader with millions of followers. Jung anticipated this doubt precisely. In one of his most penetrating observations, he recorded these words: "The vast majority of souls with a mission will never become aware of the immense power within them, not unless they are absolutely compelled to. From the outside, they appear to live entirely ordinary lives. They work in offices, they run small businesses, they raise children, they move through crowds without drawing attention. But when the great moment arrives, when the world genuinely needs them, the ancient code within them is suddenly activated. And within seconds, they know with complete clarity exactly what they must do. Does that not send a chill through you? Because it means it does not matter how ordinary your life appears from the outside. Even if you have never once meditated, even if you have never opened a philosophical text, if you were born within those specific years, if right now, deep in your heart, you feel something pressing against you, calling to you, if you are hearing these words at this precise moment, that code has already been activated, and you are absolutely not alone on this path. Jung said these souls would recognize one another by their eyes, that invisible bonds and vast networks of mutual support would form between them, that at the most critical moments of their lives, they would collide with one another in ways that appeared entirely accidental, but were anything but. He called this simultaneous awakening, the phenomenon of millions of people who have never met, never spoken, experiencing the same profound ache, the same hunger for transformation, the same awakening at the same time. Have you noticed how often in recent years you have crossed paths with people who think as you do, who search for the same things, who carry that same urgent sense that something must change? This is not coincidence. This is the simultaneous awakening in motion. And I promise you, everything is only just beginning. Drop 528. I am healing. I am rising. I am exactly where I need to be. But before I tell you how to activate your specific mission, I need to speak about the darker face of the awakening journey, the truths Jung warned about with particular intensity, the realities most of us spend our lives avoiding. Awakening is not settling into a comfortable chair. Fulfilling your mission is not a simple task to be checked off a list. And the path of spiritual growth is not, as some would try to sell you, a permanent state of happiness and ease. Jung was ruthlessly honest about this. He said souls of this generation would face 3 great obstacles, 3 heavy trials designed to test whether they were truly prepared for this calling. The first trial: attachment to material things. You grew up in a ferocious consumer age where money, status, and possessions became the new gods. Many of you spent an entire lifetime building financial security, constructing an impenetrable material foundation. And now your soul is asking you to release your grip on what you have held so tightly. This does not mean abandoning everything you own. Jung never romanticized poverty. What is being asked is simply this: stop measuring your identity and your worth by what you possess or what your bank account contains. Because your spiritual mission cannot be fulfilled through greed or through the paralysis of fear that you might lose what you have. The second trial: spiritual ego. When you begin to awaken, when you start seeing the larger picture that those around you cannot yet perceive, the temptation to feel superior to them is extraordinarily powerful. Jung gave a very clear warning here. He said many of these souls would surrender to arrogance, that they would begin to look down on and judge those still sleeping, that they would retreat into echo chambers populated only by people who think as they do. The moment you do this, your mission has already failed, because your work is not to build sterile spiritual bubbles sealed off from the world. Your work is to build bridges. You did not come to save only those who are already awake. You came to extend your hand to everyone. And that requires immense humility, a profound compassion, a refusal to ever forget that you too were once deep in that same sleep, fumbling through that same darkness, searching for a way forward. The third and most brutal trial: the exhaustion of the soul. Jung explained that these souls arrived in this world already depleted, already worn down by so many lifetimes, so many disappointments, so many cycles of hope and collapse. This is why so many of you carry that inexplicable heaviness, that weight that never fully lifts no matter how much you sleep, that bone-deep weariness of this world, that longing, quiet and persistent simply to go home. This is not ordinary depression. This is karmic exhaustion. This is your soul turning to you and whispering, "I have done this so many times before. I am so tired of struggling. I just want to go home." And Jung predicted that many souls would surrender at precisely the point closest to the finish line, at the very threshold where their mission would carry its greatest meaning. They would numb themselves with television, with food, with endless scrolling, with the endless chase of temporary pleasures, anything to avoid feeling the full weight of that exhaustion. But here is the truth you need to hear. That profound exhaustion you feel does not mean it is time to give up. It means you are closer to the finish line than you have ever been. Jung compared this to a marathon. In the final kilometers, everything breaks down. Your legs refuse to carry you. Your mind screams at you to stop. Every cell in your body begs you to quit. But the ones who cross that line are the ones who keep moving despite that unbearable pain. You are in those final kilometers right now. This is why everything around you feels so intense. This is why the world appears to be fracturing. This is why your personal life, your family, your closest relationships are being shaken at the roots. This is not punishment. This is the great cleansing that prepares you for your true purpose. As Jung wrote with extraordinary wisdom, before the universe activates a soul's greatest mission, it strips that soul of everything that does not belong to its essence. Everything false, everything that does not serve its highest calling. One by one, it removes them all. Yes, this process is painful. Of course it hurts. But on the other side of that pain, your true, unshakable power is waiting. Rite 11. The voice of my soul is the only voice that truly guides me. How do you know whether you have passed these trials? The signs are simple. If you can see money as nothing more than energy in motion, a current, not an identity, you have passed the first trial. If you can stand peacefully within your own spiritual truth without needing to convince others, without needing to convert anyone to your perspective, you have passed the second trial. And if, despite that exhaustion carved into the very marrow of your soul, you still choose each morning to rise and keep moving, you have passed the third and hardest trial of all. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be committed to the path. Now we arrive at the question that matters most. What is your specific mission? What is the thing that only you can do? The thing you were sent here to accomplish, that no one else on this earth can offer in quite the same way. Carl Jung left behind a method, deceptively simple, yet devastatingly precise, for every individual to locate their unique calling. It requires no elaborate rituals, no mystical symbols, only the willingness to be ruthlessly honest with yourself. 3 questions. Most people never make it through all 3, not because they are difficult to understand, but because they are afraid of the truths that will look them directly in the face. First question. What genuinely breaks your heart? Not your personal sorrows, not your private losses. The great matters of the world that reach into the deepest chambers of your soul. Is it the theft of childhood innocence, the destruction of the natural world, the silent loneliness of the elderly, injustice, the spiritual blindness that keeps people trapped in lives they never truly chose? Jung was precise about this. The soul does not select these sensitivities randomly. It deliberately chooses to feel, with great depth, the pain of what it descended to earth to heal. If something shatters your heart, that is your mission speaking directly to you. Second question: what do others find extraordinarily difficult, but you do naturally, effortlessly, like water finding its level? Everyone carries gifts so innate they often fail to recognize them as gifts at all. Perhaps you listen to people in such a way that they feel, for the very first time in their lives, that they have been truly heard. Perhaps you can organize the most chaotic situations with calm precision. Perhaps you connect ideas that no one else would ever think to bring together. Or perhaps simply entering a room and sitting in silence is enough to soften a tense and fractured atmosphere. These are not incidental abilities. These are the specialized instruments your soul packed into its travel bag for this specific mission. Your calling never asks you to become someone you are not. It asks only that you live who you already are with the highest possible consciousness and awareness. Third question: if you knew with absolute certainty that you had exactly 5 years left to live, what would you do differently starting today? This is the most destabilizing, most mask-stripping question of the three. Because genuine urgency dissolves every postponement, every "one day I will" promise, every excuse you have ever constructed. When the illusion of infinite time collapses, the soul immediately reveals its true priorities. And those priorities are your real mission. Now, take the answers to all three questions and hold them together. Perhaps the breaking of authentic human connection, people living disconnected from their own souls, is what shatters your heart. Perhaps your most natural gift is creating safe spaces where people feel free to speak without armor. And perhaps, with 5 years remaining, you would build the kind of genuine community where people could speak without masks, without judgment, without performance. Then that is your mission. Or perhaps the destruction of the natural world is what wounds you most deeply. Perhaps your natural gift is translating the most complex truths into the simplest possible language. And with 5 years left, you would spend every hour teaching people how to protect what remains of this earth. Then you are an ambassador of the living world. Do you see how this works? Your mission never needs to be vast and epic on paper. Its greatness lives entirely in the depth of its impact. You do not need to appear on television. You do not need millions of followers. You do not need to write the great philosophical text that rewrites human history. You only need to do what only you can do, right where you are standing, right now. Because here is the profound secret that most people never understand. Spiritual missions are not measured by how many people you reach. They are measured entirely by the precision and depth of the specific contribution only you can offer. Every soul is placed with mathematical exactness into a specific family, a specific neighborhood, a specific constellation of difficulties and constraints. Because that is the precise location where your irreplaceable contribution is needed. You are not standing where you are standing by accident. Your family, your city, your work, your struggles, your frustrations. These are not obstacles to your mission. They are the architecture of your mission. As Jung expressed it beautifully, on the stage of the universe, there is no such thing as a miscast soul. If you are on this stage, it is because there is a role that only you can play. Drop 333. I am in perfect alignment with my soul's true purpose. Jung also spoke in great detail about the signs that the decisive moment, the great turning point, had arrived. And every one of his predictions is unfolding before our eyes right now. He described what he called the Great Purification, a period approaching human history when nothing hidden would remain concealed, when every structure built on deception would collapse like a house of cards, when concealing the truth would become impossible. And he said souls with a mission would recognize the arrival of this time through 5 unmistakable signs. The first sign, the awakening of the young. Jung sensed that children born after the year 2000 would arrive with an entirely different quality of consciousness, far more sensitive, invisibly connected to one another, and utterly unwilling to swallow the stale lies that older systems had forced upon previous generations. He added that the hinge generation, those born between 1945 and 1965, would be responsible for building the vital bridge between these new souls and the old world. Your work, when no one else understands them, is to protect these new spirits, to guide them, to confirm for them that what they are feeling is real. Look at the young people around you right now. Are they not rejecting with absolute clarity that old script? Study hard, work obediently for 40 years at the same desk, retire, and disappear? Are they not refusing to grant unearned respect to hollow authority that has long since lost any moral foundation? The older generation judges them, calls them lazy, disrespectful, lost, weak. But you understand them, because once, when you questioned that old order, when you raised your voice in resistance, you were judged with that same brutal cruelty. Your mission is to be the compassionate, wise shield that stands before them until they find their own path. The second sign, the collapse of institutions. Jung foresaw that the massive structures which had governed the world for centuries, controlling populations through fear and compliance, would begin to fracture. Governments, exploitative economic systems, rigid religious structures, decayed educational models, bankrupt healthcare systems, everything maintained through control and fear, all of it would fall. And when it happened, when the masses descended into panic, souls with a mission would need to maintain their extraordinary calm. Their work was to remind people that this collapse was not an ending, but the necessary clearing of space for something new and genuinely beautiful to be built. We are in the center of this right now. If you are able to maintain that strange, deep stillness within your heart while everyone around you is consumed by hysteria, this does not mean you are indifferent. It means you are prepared. Your soul knew these days were coming, and it spent years training you not to shatter when they arrived. The third sign, the incomprehensible acceleration of time. Jung describes a peculiar phenomenon, people increasingly sensing that time is moving faster, that days, months, and years are slipping away like water. He said this was not a psychological illusion, but a genuine shift in the vibrational frequency of the planet, directly altering our perception of time. Have you not noticed in recent years how quickly the years pass? How you can never quite catch up with time? Jung said this was a signal of Earth moving toward a new dimension of consciousness, and that sensitive souls would perceive this acceleration long before anyone else. Your work is to remain centered, to hold your equilibrium, and to help others adapt to this dizzying speed. The fourth sign, the surfacing of ancient wisdom. Jung predicted that in the years immediately preceding the arrival of a new age, lost knowledge, ancient texts, and long-suppressed truths about human history would erupt from beneath the surface. Just as the discovery of Göbekli Tepe, right here in these ancient Anatolian lands, rewrote human history by thousands of years, have we not witnessed in the past decade an extraordinary resurgence of interest in ancient civilizations, forgotten wisdoms, and the deepest traditions of mysticism? Jung said this was not merely intellectual curiosity. It was the collective soul attempting to remember who it once was, so it could find the direction it now needs to travel. Your mission is to take that ancient wisdom and weave it into the fabric of present reality, without becoming imprisoned in the past. The fifth sign, the deep and piercing loneliness of those who are awakening. This may be the most painful of all to face. Jung warned that as souls with a mission move into awakening, they would feel a profound loneliness, because they could no longer fit into the old environments they had once called home. Your family will not understand you. Old friends will look at you as though you have become a stranger. The culture around you will make you feel exiled, alien, fundamentally out of place. Many of you will question yourselves. You will wonder, is something wrong with me? But Jung was absolutely clear. That loneliness is temporary. It is the desolate corridor you must pass through to leave the old world behind and find your true spiritual family. And that isolation serves a vital purpose. It forces you to stop seeking the truths that others, that your parents, that society, that the system have imposed on you, and to find instead only your own inner truth. because you can only complete your final mission by standing firmly on the ground of your own truth. If you have felt all 5 of these signs moving through your own life, there is no longer any room for doubt. You are standing exactly where Carl Jung described years before you were born. There is only one question remaining. What will you do with everything I have just told you? You could understand all of this with perfect intellectual clarity, and then return to your life exactly as it was, changing nothing. And if you do, this knowledge will serve no purpose at all. Jung underlined this truth relentlessly. Unexamined spiritual knowledge that is never applied is far more dangerous than ignorance, because it produces nothing but arrogance and ego without a single transformation. So how do you fulfill this great mission within the fabric of your daily life? Jung described 4 steps, profoundly simple yet extraordinarily deep. The first step: accept once and for all that your life was never ordinary and never will be. Stop trying to compress yourself into the molds society handed you. Stop comparing yourself to people who followed the conventional script. Your soul chose a fundamentally different path from the very beginning. And that means your life will often look unconventional and sometimes deeply turbulent from the outside. Perhaps you have married and separated more than once because you refused to settle for anything less than genuine, deep connection. Perhaps you have changed direction professionally several times because no career that failed to feed your soul was worth your years. Perhaps you have deep friendships scattered across the world while feeling profoundly distant from your own blood family. None of these are failures. They are the symptoms of a noble soul that refuses to accept anything false or shallow. As Jung said, the lives of souls with a mission never move in a straight line. They move in spirals. They appear to be circling endlessly around the same center, but with each revolution, they are rising toward a higher level of consciousness. The second step: discover your domain of genius. Your domain of genius lives at the precise intersection of 4 things: what you love most deeply, what you do with the greatest natural ease, what the world most desperately needs, and what breaks your heart most profoundly when it is absent. This is not merely a skill or a passion. It is the core point where everything converges. And here is the most important detail. Your domain of genius may be something the world currently undervalues, something the world calls impractical, unprofitable, unnecessary. Perhaps your gift is creating small pockets of beauty within ordinary life. Perhaps it is holding the safe, silent space in which others can weep and finally begin to heal. Perhaps it is being the first courageous voice to name a lie that everyone else has wordlessly agreed to accept. You need no university degree for this, no official title, only the willingness to remain faithful to what lives within you. The third step: start small, but start immediately. Most people remain paralyzed, waiting for the perfect sign, the ideal moment, the right conditions. But Jung stated this with complete clarity.
The mission only activates through movement, not through thinking, not through preparing, through moving. You do not need a flawless master plan. You need only the single, small first step. If your mission is healing, begin by truly listening to one person. If your mission is teaching, begin by sharing the one true thing you know most deeply. If your mission is building community, invite two people you trust to sit with you over tea and begin that honest conversation. The universe does not respond to your good intentions. It responds to your actions. And here is where the magic lives. The moment you take that first small step, the dark road suddenly illuminates. Resources appear from directions you never anticipated. The right people enter your life. Locked doors swing open. Not
because you are supernatural, but because you have finally aligned yourself with your reason for existing. The fourth and final step: release the outcome completely. This is where most people stumble hardest. They want to fulfill their mission, but they also want to control what success looks like. They want to save the entire world, to be celebrated, to change everyone's life at once. And Jung warns, this obsessive attachment to outcome destroys the mission itself. Because your work is not to forcibly rescue anyone. Your work is to demonstrate, in the midst of the darkness, that another possibility exists, another path. Some will take it, some will not, and that is entirely, completely fine. You are not responsible for the choices others make. You are responsible only for reflecting your own light, with clarity, with honesty, with complete integrity. Plant the seeds, water them with everything you have, but surrender the decision of when and how they bloom entirely to the immense wisdom of the universe. Now I want you to place something vital into the deepest chamber of your heart. Fulfilling your mission does not mean your life will become a garden without thorns. It does not mean everything will flow with effortless, magical ease. It does not mean you will be finished with pain or struggle. It means only this: the pain you carry from here forward will have a meaning great enough to bear it. The sweat you pour, the effort you give, will serve something so much larger than your own small personal comfort. And when your final day on this earth arrives, and you release your last breath, there will not be a single fragment of regret left in your heart. Because you will have accomplished the very thing you came here to do. And the feeling you will know in that moment, according to Jung, is the only real peace that truly exists. The peace of knowing your life held meaning, that your presence in this world genuinely changed something, that you kept the promise you made before you were born. This is not a life without trouble. This is a life without emptiness. Jung also spoke of what happens to the soul when its final mission is fulfilled. When someone from his inner circle asked him what would become of souls who completed that last, ultimate purpose on earth, his answer was so shattering and so beautiful that those who were recording his words could not hold back their tears. Jung said these souls graduate. They no longer return to this difficult, demanding school of earthly existence. They have nothing left to learn here. They ascend to far higher dimensions of being and transform into invisible guides for the souls still navigating these dark roads below. In our tradition, we call them the unseen ones, the protectors, the wise presences that appear at the edges of our most desperate moments. But the most breathtaking part of all is this: no soul graduates from this school alone. When you complete your mission, you raise the frequency of every person you have ever touched, every life you have ever looked into, every heart you have ever opened. And they go forward and raise the frequencies of others. This is a consciousness cascade of breathtaking proportions. This is why your mission matters above all else, even if it spans only one small neighborhood, even if no one ever applauds you, even if your name is never remembered by anyone beyond those who loved you. The waves of love and awareness you create will continue to echo across this earth for centuries after you have gone. And now, the question you must answer. Will you watch this one extraordinary, irreplaceable life slip quietly away, like an ordinary story with no true ending? Or will you find the courage to rise and fulfill the great mission you came here to carry? The choice, as it has always been, belongs entirely to you. But as you make it, consider this carefully. Do not waste this chance waiting for the perfect moment that will never arrive. Do not convince yourself you are not enough, because that voice has always been alone. Lie. Do not spend these precious years living the safe, hollow life that others designed for you. Billions of souls living on this earth right now need something that only you can give them. Not one day, right now. If these words reached something buried deep inside you, if you felt something ancient stir while you listened, share this message. Because somewhere in this world, someone from your generation is sitting quietly in pain, feeling lost, feeling that no one could possibly understand. And these words may be exactly what they have been waiting to hear. We are far more numerous than we know, and if we stand together, if we truly stand together, we can change the trajectory of this world. One awakening consciousness at a time. One courageous decision at a time. One act of pure, unguarded love at a time. Your great mission on this earth drew its first breath the moment you were born. But what brings it fully, powerfully alive is the moment you say yes. Let that moment be now. Drop 999 in the comments. I release the old version of myself. I am ready for what I was born to become.